Greetings to all the viewers. NSS IIT Roorkee proudly presents to you the third interview in our talk series, Her, Women of Wisdom. The inspiration for this initiative is to bring women from different walks of life who are operating for a cause and bring their voices to you. We believe in empowerment through knowledge and throughout culture and gender. Therefore, we aim to give you an intellectual stimulation on various topics and motivate you to concentrate your energy better. With this note, we would like to introduce our guest, Mrs. Samantha Kannan. Mrs. Samantha Ma'am is the founder of UNGA English, an online platform that provides free conversation English practice platform. She is a prominent writer, and we are sure that many of our viewers might have heard or read her witty and zealous answers over Quora. She has also authored the book A New Journey, which was a bestseller on many different platforms. She was born and brought up near a small town in Chicago and was inspired by her friends in India to come and experience the culture of India. Since then, she has visited India several times. We welcome you, ma'am.
And it felt so amazing to me because here I feel like everything really is, you can, like, even if I go 1,000 miles away, I'll still kind of feel like I'm in my own place. So it was just really amazing, and honestly, like, I can't even fathom how it felt the first time. It was just really amazing. Sorry.
Yes. I think that was a very exciting experience indeed. Like, okay.
It really depends on who the person is who encounters the foreigner. I've been treated both very, very well and very, very poorly, depending upon what their what their mindset is about how we are. So some people just see us as like we are really rich, fancy, like hi-fi people, which most of us really aren't. So like even once my husband and I took an Uber, and the Uber driver thought that like I was his client. So they kind of treated me with a different caliber of treatment. So it's kind of like that sometimes, but then also sometimes I'll be charged, 10 times what the local rate is. So it just depends on how that person is. But the first couple of times that I came, I was really hurt by that because I felt like I was being taken advantage of. But then as I was thinking kind of when like we as foreigners are traveling to India, we are contributing to so much pollution. We're contributing to so much kind of gentrification that I feel like it's kind of our duty to pay that extra as like, I'm sorry. So if we have to pay extra at monuments, we're helping to preserve the monuments. We're helping because we are contributing to the pollution that's causing them to kind of decay. And if we go to London or something to see a palace, none of us are going to scoff at having to pay £20. So why are we kind of feeling upset at paying extra in India? So I feel like we just need to kind of have that feeling. And even when you're buying from shopkeepers, like that $2 or $3 to us is, feeding their family, it's educating their children. So it's just so important to kind of see the privilege that we have and not take advantage of it just because someone else is paying a lower rate. It doesn't mean that we should also. So I think that writing kind of allows you an insight into your own perspective. So for instance, on Quora, I've been a member now for almost 3 years. And looking back at some of when I first joined, I wrote a couple of answers about how upset I was with being scammed and having to pay extra. And now looking back at it, having had different experiences, speaking with different people, learning from others' experiences, I've completely changed my own perspectives, and I can see kind of a timeline of how my opinions have changed. So it's like a time capsule for yourself and a diary. So if I'm struggling with something, or so many people have messaged me that like I was struggling with something, I searched the keywords and then I found your answer and it kind of guided me. And just those little things have made me, because it just feels really good to know that you've helped someone. Like I got a message a couple of months ago from a girl. She's also an American in a relationship with an Indian. And she said that because of me, like literally just a stupid small person on the internet. Her boyfriend's parents accepted their relationship because I had been so adapting and open to everything. And just knowing that I had a hand in someone else's happiness, like I cried. So it's a really good feeling to see like what an impact the internet and writing can have on everyone. So UNGA is in Tamil, it's like Opka. So what I wanted to do was as you might know, I've been studying Tamil now for some time, and so on Twitter, on Quora, people kind of guide me and show me different resources, and then when they would turn it around and ask for similar resources in English, I had no idea because it's what I've been brought up with. So I don't really have a background in studying it externally. So when I started to research it to kind of give people kind of notes and where they could go for resources, I noticed how expensive everything was, especially if you wanted to speak with a native English speaker. It was astronomical, and it's out of the budget for so many, like millions of people. Language is extremely special, but it's literally just a language. It's just for communicating with people. It shouldn't be only accessible to whoever can afford it the most. If someone's passionate about learning it, they should have access to it. So I just wanted to make a completely free resource that anyone could use. So I have like a little calendar where I have a couple of hours every week that I'm available, and anyone can sign up for it. And then I just chat with them conversationally, very relaxed, because I found that most people who say they struggle with English, really it's just a confidence issue. So I just try to help them pinpoint. We'll just chat for half an hour, and then at the end, I will tell them, these are what I think are really your strengths. These are some things that I think might help you to work on. And then I'll guide them to some resources and some articles about those particular issues so that they can work towards improving those and feel more confident in themselves. As you can tell, I'm not very confident in speaking. So I much prefer writing. I've always been very introverted. Even as early as like 7th grade, I had my little internet friends from chat rooms. So it was just so much more easy and I feel like when we're behind a screen, we can be more vulnerable. So in being more vulnerable and more open with each other, we're then able to find other people with the same interests and build stronger relationships. So I think that even though, in person has been, the tradition and the long-standing way of communication and getting to know each other, online has so many different opportunities because you can find so many people who have experiences and interests that resound with your own. And so you can just build those tighter foundations for strong relationships, which I think is really important.
That if someone is very introverted, like you said, someone might be introverted, so they might not like to communicate directly with someone, and behind the screen that they're more comfortable with it. So if someone is very introverted but they wanna tell their thoughts to a wider audience, so like how would you guide them, or how would you mentor them so that they really get that skill in their life so that they can influence people with their thoughts?
So that's kind of what happened to me actually. Was I was just feeling at a really, really lonely time in my life, and someone told me to join Quora. I didn't know what it was. I joined it, and then I just kind of treated it like a diary because I didn't think anyone would ever see it. So any little question, I just treated it like, in school, like 10th class writing prompt for the day. And I would just write my little answer. And then slowly people started saying that like they appreciate my answers. It taught them something about foreigners or stereotypes. And it made me kind of feel like I wasn't completely alone in the world. I don't know. It was a really nice feeling. And now knowing that I have made, dozens and dozens of friends from this website, that just from treating it like a diary and writing to myself, basically, is just a really great feeling knowing that, I'm not completely alone in the world. I think there's a couple of things to remember. The first being that when someone comments on like a YouTube video or a Quora answer or anything like that, Instagram, when after they type that, they've kind of completely forgotten that you existed. They just kept scrolling. So for us to give our time and our energy, being upset about what they're saying, trying to figure out what it's about, I think it's really misspent energy. Unless it's something really where they're actually critiquing something, like if you've done something wrong, if you can learn from what their words are, I think that's important. But if they are saying something just completely rude, completely horrible, like you're stupid or something, it's just, we really shouldn't dwell on it. And then furthermore, if someone told me, because a few months ago I went through a really, really bad case of online bullying, and one of my friends is kind of like, Yoda, like from Star Wars, who's always saying really wise things.
Yes,
one of my friends, we called him Yoda.
Okay.
And so they said, remember that the brighter the spotlight, the darker the shadow is going to be. So if you want your shadow to be less, then leave the spotlight a little bit. So at that time, I took a break from a lot of social medias and I backed away and kind of recalibrated myself, what I was doing. And then I kind of got in touch with why I had started using the internet, which wasn't to really appeal to anyone. It was just because, I was bored, I was lonely, and I wanted to just kind of reach out and see if anyone else felt the same way that I did. And I was able to go ahead and just recenter myself when I backed away. And I thought that was really important. So at first it was really tough for me. And then my Yoda friend said something to me. They said, if you hold on to a rope really, really tight, you're only going to hurt yourself. Because you're getting the rope burns on your hands. And you just need to let go and kind of go with, or even like if you're swimming, if you fight the current, you'll get tired. If you go with it, you'll mostly be fine. So I kind of had to learn to let go, to really embrace what was going on around me and take the opportunity to learn from it, because just because I've been in one situation, in one culture my whole life, going into another, I can't really apply the same logic. I can't apply the same rules because it's completely different. And a completely different way of life and a completely different set of reasoning for everything. And it's really entitled to go around saying like, oh, my way is the right way. And, so then going through that, I was able to really kind of connect and learn, and just a lot of observation and speaking with people and learning what was going on. Like, for instance, the school, I was staying in the hostel on campus, and they turned off the water in the hostel for like 8 or 10 hours every single day. And at first I was really upset, and I was like, what if someone needs water? Like, I need to wash my hands. I need to do this. I need to do this. And then I was thinking, like, these are the school hours. It's saving the resource of water. It's saving the electricity that's going into it. It's done with a set of logic. No one's going to be using it. Why would they waste a resource just in case someone happened to go into the hostel like I had that one day? So it's just thinking about the purpose with which those decisions were made. And then you can really learn from it. And even like even so much as taking off your shoes in the house, things like that, I've adapted them into my life in the US. Just because it made more sense to me once I really learned about the reasoning for it and the purpose behind it.
Okay, ma'am. And ma'am, like, I would also like to know, like you said, like this habit of taking off your shoes. So it's practiced in many households of India. So I would just like to know, are there any more habits that you took from India, or even took to your parents and friends and and different family members?
So like in my childhood house, my parents were very, very worried about us. They wanted us to always be extremely safe. So I wasn't allowed to remove my shoes until I went to bed. So then the idea of like taking off your shoes in shops, in the house, even in the hospital sometimes, it was just amazing to me. And then even like giving snacks to guests, my parents used to have us hide the snacks from guests because they felt like we've spent the money for these snacks, like these are for us. They might overindulge and then our snacks will be gone. And now like my husband and I will freely give snacks and anything for anyone. And I think it's just really taught me in a way to be a lot more hospitable, because I don't think I was really in my region. I don't think we have a whole lot of hospitality like that. And I think it's a good thing that more people, at least in this area, should adopt. Oh, yeah, sure. So it's a sequel to the first book that I wrote about my school in Kerala. And it was kind of along the same lines as to the purpose. I really wanted to dispel a lot of stereotypes that people asked me. A lot of them were really ill-informed, borderline offensive things that people would ask. And I just wanted to really set the record straight and show how fun it was. I also had some friends from other states who have different wedding traditions, and they were curious about what happened. So I wanted to share that with them. Of course, my family wasn't able to make it, so I wanted to share my experiences with them because they weren't able to really get the whole idea just from the wedding videos. And I wanted, and also a lot of my friends, I have a lot of friends who are in similar relationships as me, and some of them are getting married soon, or they want to get married to their partner. So being able to see what I experienced, how I experienced it, how accommodating and kind Kannan's family was with me, it really gave them the confidence, because it is really overwhelming to think about marrying into completely different traditions where you don't know what's happening. So it kind of helped them to relax and calm down and enjoy what's going on, because if you have that kind of like outline of what's going to be happening, you're able to relax within yourself and just kind of let go a little bit. So it did help some of my friends who have proofread it so far. And hopefully no one hates it. I'll find out next month.
Here, like often we tell our juniors or anyone, you should embrace change. Whether it's outside, maybe you should try to adapt to change. And in your case, like you said, you married into a completely different, how do I say, a completely different family. You like traditions and everything. Even I would say Indian people are very picky with their religious habits also. Going to temple, or the time they're going to temple, everything is very fixed and everything is very at the routine. So how did you embrace this change? Like how did you adapt to it? Was there, like, I just want to know, like, how did you take this change for yourself?
The main thing was that I had heard so many horror stories of what people had gone through, just trying to, even in India, like interreligious marriages, things like that. And I just felt such a sense of gratefulness for my husband and his family that I kind of took it as my duty to them to kind of uphold everything on my end and do what I could to just not going against the current and everything, because as you know, Kannan has adapted a lot to my lifestyle. Like he'll come to church for Easter and Christmas, and we go to temples for birthdays and things. So we've really kind of adapted to each other's cultures. So since I'm the one on the internet, people see everything that I've given up or that I've started doing, but they see that he has that side as well. So we've both really compromised to each other, which I think is a big part of why we're so happy, is because we're able to really see what the other needs and what's important to the other, and then adapt our lifestyle to embrace it.
Yes, ma'am, that's really wonderful. Like I think that there should be this perfect harmony, like while going for any journey or any experience of life. So I'm really like happy to hear about that. So, ma'am, like I would just like to know, when is your next visit to India, and what do you plan to do when you come over here? Anything interesting? Anything new?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we were planning to go for Diwali last year, but COVID.
Yeah.
So I think we're planning this year, pending COVID, of course. Yes. But yeah, mostly one of my friends is getting married. She's also American. Her husband is from Kerala, or her boyfriend's from Kerala. They're going to be getting married in Bangalore. So we're going for that, and visiting my husband's family in Madurai. And I really want to do something else. Like I want to go to like Rajasthan or Sikkim or somewhere that I haven't been. And so I don't know if we'll have enough time, but I really want to.
Okay. I hope your plans succeed, and you should, like explore more of India. I think like you will be expecting another book about how you explored India, maybe a third part soon.
Like,
Writing is really hard.
yeah, I'm like, I would also like to know about like any difficulties while writing the book, since it's a very major project. It's not easy. You think one day you'll write a book, and after maybe 2 or 3 chapters, you're like, it's enough for me. I need to focus on my household work now or different things.
Oh yeah, like the first book I wrote, it took me 2 years because I am very like in my head. I'll discourage myself very well. So I'll just be like, who are you? What are you doing? Who do you think you're writing a book? So then I just kind of bully myself, and then I'll stop the project and start and stop. And for the second book, I was much more disciplined. So I forced myself every day for 2 months. I wrote 1,000 words. And I had the outline before. So at first I wrote like a sentence outline for each chapter. Then I wrote a paragraph for each chapter. And then after that, I just kind of wrote 1,000 words a day for 2 months. And then I left it because you want to approach editing from a fresh mind. Yeah. So then I went and I edited it from a fresh mind. And then I had some friends do reviews of it to just check for editing's purpose, like if there was any problem with pacing or with grammar or anything, and then some other friends who were familiar with Tamil traditions to make sure I didn't misrepresent anything or accidentally say something that could in any way offend anyone. And then making sure, because there's like some Tamil words in there, they're all very well explained, so like it's not difficult. But I just wanted to make sure everything was fine and like okay. And then I went to a professional. And then it's a really big project. And if anyone out there wants to practice their project management skills, it's a big one because you have to coordinate your formatter, you have to coordinate your cover designer, you have to coordinate your editors. And it's a really, really big project to undertake, which is why this is probably my last book. But, it is quite the experience, and the feeling of like I got the hard copy in the mail a couple of days ago from Amazon. And just that feeling of like holding it in my hands and being like, I made this. I can't compare it, but like I feel like it's probably like having a kid. You're just like, I created this. Yeah. And it's a really good feeling. So highly recommend if anyone feels like putting in. And of course, if any of you are thinking about it, just message me. I can guide you along the way if you have any doubts.
Okay, and like you said, like we can message you and you can guide us. Are there any secret Samantha ma'am tricks that we should know while writing? Like
any secret what?
Habits you follow while writing, things you take care of. Like maybe there's someone who wants to pursue writing. Any tips or tricks that you would like to tell them? Any habit they should take care about while writing?
When I read Quora, I think the biggest thing specifically that I've noticed is some people, they just write their entire answer in a big paragraph, and it's really, really overwhelming. So if you just cut it into, break it up a little bit, add some pictures if it's relevant, it just really helps to maintain focus, because I can't focus. I have the worst focus. I get very easily distracted. So if there is just that break up, the breather between thoughts, it just really helps it to flow. And it usually attracts more people too. And you can bold things, italicize things like that to kind of add emphasis, which is really, really helpful in what I've noticed from the answers that are tough to follow.